Clerk will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 1 by Assemblymember Donnelly relative to undocumented criminals.
Mr. Donnelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we are spending right now $53,000 a year to incarcerate individuals in our state prison system. According to the California Department of Corrections, we have somewhere close to 20,000 people in our prisons who are in the country illegally. So they crossed the border illegally and then they committed a crime serious enough to send them to state prison. I think that we have a great opportunity to turn to Washington and demand that they do the right thing. They're the ones who have failed in their duty to secure our borders, and we're the ones who are paying for it. And it's not just us. It is our education system, it's our healthcare system. We pay for it in so many ways, but we can codify it very, very clearly here at $53,000 a year per prisoner. I have written a letter and asked President Obama to either reimburse us fully, which is close to $1 billion a year, or to take those who are in the country illegally, who are incarcerated in our state prisons, into custody, in light of the fact that the Supreme Court has mandated to us that we have to release 33,000 criminals onto our streets. I think this is a public safety nightmare, and there is broad agreement that we need to do something to alleviate the pressure on our system. And it is very unusual when you find so many people who agree on an issue. I have Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is in agreement. The governor himself is in agreement. Sheriff Lee Baca of Los Angeles County, and many others who believe that we should be fully reimbursed. And I know that many of you have voted on this in the past, and perhaps this year you're thinking that you won't vote. I think that's a mistake. I think it's absolutely important that we send a message to the President and the Congress that we speak with one voice, and that we absolutely demand to be made whole, and we ask the President to deal with this crisis so that it doesn't become a crisis on our streets. I urge an aye vote.
Mr. Alejo.
Members and colleagues, I stand in opposition of this bill, and I'm asking my colleagues to also stand in opposition or stay off this bill. This bill still needs work to be done on it, and we need to be able to separate the politics from the policy questions that are in this resolution. And it's unfortunate to hear much of the politics being the focus and impetus behind this resolution. So I'm asking that my fellow colleagues stay off this bill and let this bill be reworked. Thank you.
Mr. Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise to support this bill as well. This resolution strictly says we should be reimbursed for our costs. This is something that we have passed every year here on this floor, unanimously, both parties, and we've never actually received all the money we need to have, but this is a non-controversial resolution that we do every year. Ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Jones.
Members,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The intent of the policy perhaps could be a good one, but the Latino caucus does have concerns with this bill, and we ask you to stay off.
Seeing no further questions or debate, Mr. Donnelly, you may close.
Yes, I would just like to say that's the first I've ever heard of any concerns with this bill. We did take amendments to change language to make sure that it was uniform and that we used the term undocumented criminals. So I think it's a mistake. I think this is strictly a fiscal policy matter. It deals with one segment of the population for whom we are all paying, and we're simply asking the federal government to reimburse us. It's not controversial. It's just common sense. I urge an aye vote.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 26, noes 2, the measure fails. File item 66 and 67 pass and retain. We're going to move to the Senate third reading file. File item 68 and 69 pass and retain. File item, Mr. Hagman, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you. For point of clarification, Mr. Speaker, I think the author was requesting to put on the last bill on call. We can pull it up later.
The author has to request to move the call before I announce the vote, so he can request reconsideration.
My majority floor leader moved the call all the time, too. We were expecting to move the call on that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hagman, the vote was announced, so we would need unanimous. You would need unanimous consent to move that call, so you can ask for reconsideration if you wish. You can ask for immediate reconsideration if you wish.
No, it's okay. We'll put it on the call, but we'll ask for reconsideration.
I'm sorry, what would you like to do?
Just ask for a reconsideration. We'll put it off until later. Thank you.
Okay, duly noted. All right, so we're going to grant immediate reconsideration without objection. Okay, so clerk will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 1 by Assemblymember Donnelly relative to undocumented criminals.
Clerk will open the roll. I'm sorry, Mr. Donnelly, you may speak on reconsideration if you wish.
No, reconsideration is granted. You can speak on the resolution again if you want to.
You know, I find it interesting to see what you stand for. And I almost have to laugh a little bit. You know, it's funny. When many of you have bills, and you and I have massive disagreements on all kinds of things, but it's a good bill, I give you a vote. But somehow you can't return the courtesy. And you think that's somehow going to embarrass me? No, that's going to embarrass you when the public finds out where you really stand on the issues. Not on the personalities, but on the issues.
I'm sorry, Mr. Donnelly, Mr. Calderon.
On reconsideration,
much more for many of you, so enjoy your little stunt and, you know, whatever. To me, it just saddens me. It really saddens me because I have moved bills that had merit. This bill has merit. I urge an aye vote.
Mr. Bell.
I raise a point of order. The point of order is that members should not engage in negative remarks about other members.
The point is well taken. Seeing no further questions or debate, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Hagman moves the call for Mr. Donnelly.